thought I'd do another on-the-job demonstration for anybody interested in improving their squeegee technique. On this job, these windows are just fine to work on, but we're going to go on some really sticky tinted windows, big, very big, and I've got to use a pole. But first of all, we're going to do some easy windows, so there's no tint on this glass whatsoever. So I've done this to the frame, saturated washer. So you've seen many videos of people using squirt bottles with big windows like this. Thankfully, they've deleted their videos, struggling like hell, trying to get the liquidator to work. One of the reasons why it wouldn't work is because it doesn't have a saturated washer. So let's rub this soap right in. And these windows haven't been cleaned in 3 months. But because there's so much saturation and soap on here, I don't need to scrub the windows too much. So all I'm doing is fanning, basic fanning technique. I'm going to let that window dry. Go over to the next window. So I'm not going to bother drying the frames because, or the seals, because it will only get wet again. So let it drain. And by the time I've gone to the 4th window, this washer would have dried out a bit. So I can straight away, well, I'll show you what I mean. So let's fan these windows, take off the excess of the top part of the frame, let that flow down again. Now we're on a really busy main road here, but because these windows were cleaned the way that I'm cleaning them right now, they're not that very dirty. But if you just face over here, the water-fed pole windows always seem to be very dirty. So come back down, try not to get that slide in there, big folks. Right, so, now why is that? Why? Because the windows are high up or because it's water-fed pole? I don't know. But all I know is the windows upstairs, always filthy. Right, so we've got some bird muck here. Good job I've got my saturated washer because that's going to take off most of it, and then all I've got to do is rub. This is why I only need a saturated washer that holds a lot of water. I don't need any like porcupine type or fugu washers because I can work much quicker with my scrub gloves and they work a lot better. Now what I did forget to do was to just go over that frame, so we'll do that afterwards. So I'm just going to go up and over, make sure there's no cobwebs there. Now I'm going to dry these frames, go back on the film, one more after this. Okay, so we're going to go look at some other windows now. These windows have a film to it, so if there was any like stubborn muck on there that needs scrubbing, you know, it's very difficult to do it without scratching it. So I wouldn't be using this scrubber here. Right, this is a big window and ideally I would like to wash it with a 14-inch squeegee, but because these windows are so sticky, they're really sticky, right, because it's got this film on it. I'm going to use a smaller squeegee, and the drag on this window really bad. So I'm using a smaller squeegee because I've got smaller surface area. I am going to be making more movement, but in the long run I'm going to be working less because I'm going to have better control overall. So take out the edges, take out them corners, bottom corners. It's really sticky now, really sticky. But if I had the bigger squeegee on here, then I would be really struggling with drag. So that's why I use a smaller squeegee for these windows. More windows, I'm using the smaller squeegee and applicator. These windows are really sticky. So we're going to put loads of saturation, loads of water, and loads of soap. So let's wet that rubber up, take out the sides, and then just do the middle. Get that little stake up there. Yeah, really draggy here, really draggy. So very important to keep this saturated. Right, move along.
TikTok famous.
Well done. TikTok. Right, so do it again. Soak up. So the frames are pretty good to work on. It's just the actual pane of glass. It's got this film all over it. Right. So let's take that off. Now come around here. We've got some food or whatever down here. So I can't scrub this with these scrubbers, but this ain't going to take it off. So I need a bit more soap here. Saturated washer. I take my bucket with me when I have to. Right, so we've got a lot of that soap. I've got to use my glove. Just not using my skin. I'm still using my glove. This is why I never not wear gloves these days. So that should be taken off, and I'm gonna again soap underneath because it's a really sticky window. And I can't make the sharper turns that I really would like to make, so I make shorter turns. And now we don't have that mess there. I scrubbed it off with my hands, and go one more before I wet this washer again. So the windows are saturated. Big panes of glass. Zero detail. Near enough zero mistake. It's very hard to get zero mistakes on these windows because the drag on the windows is so big. Right, so I have to use a saturated washer. It's dripping, you can see. Adding soap directly to the glass, and I have to make these turns more shallower because if I turn too much, I've got a chance of the rubber gripping or leaving some trails because they're that sticky. So what we do is we don't use any squirt bottle, because if you use a squirt bottle, we definitely would be having probably more trouble than what Window Cleanse had when he was demonstrating how to use the liquidator. We would never want to be working like someone like him. So I'm working pretty fast, but I'm making my turns shallower. Saturated. Got that squeegee rubber in, so it's nice and lubricated as best it could be. And then just filling. If I'm making too much of a turn, I'm going to get turn marks. So I've got to be. Actually, there's no debris on that rubber. Shallower turns and closing out, and then wiping down the excess. Okay, so I've got to make with my hand movements as well a shallower turn, because exactly the same, these windows are really sticky, like when I was doing the top. It worked for me. So just putting the squeegee in the right place at the right time and making shallower turns, washing underneath still, getting that lubrication. So working longer, harder, slower than I would like. But when you don't have a choice, very narrow window, very sticky frames and glass, and you could do it like this, but he's going to jam in here and make a mistake. So what I'll do is I don't want to fan this window from the small squeegee all the way down. I'll be there much longer than I need to. So I'm going to do like a straight pull and make sure there's no drips and no detailing, and then I'm just going to fan the rest here. I've got it in pivot mode. I quite like with my smaller squeegees to use a pivoting squeegee because you get the turning a lot quicker, and I'm not turning harshly because these are sticky windows, so that's what I would do with that window there. We on? Okay, we're back to normal glass. So rub this soap in. These windows are quite dirty on this side of the building compared to the other side, so maybe where the wind blows, I don't know, but still no way as dirty as the upstairs, a done water-fed pole. So yeah, we're nearly done the job now. Many different ways to attack this window starting out. So I'll just give you a few more pointers of where to start the squeegee, and it all depends how easy and how hard the windows are to work on. So we've got one more and then we're done. It's better for me to start at the side, take out the edge and come around like this instead of starting in the centre. So it's all about adapting, evolving and not doing the same thing every single time. The last window to do minimum move, because we haven't got that stickiness on that glass. Take off the excess and it's done. So last but not least, I wanted to say when I watch people work on YouTube, quite often the big names, quite often all they do is moan and complain about the tools. It's always about the tools, and unfortunately they're blaming the tools because their skills are not that great. Why? Because they're using a soap solution that is nothing like that. So they're working longer, harder, slower, getting less results. And when they take something that's much more precise, much more surgical, all you hear is complaints. All I do is complain about those window cleaners and all the other window cleaners that want to complain and moan about these tools. They're the best tools for window cleaning, hands down, but you have to become a better performing window cleaner. And these videos hopefully will spur on anybody using squeegees often in their work. It's a game. It's the easiest game in the world. To be the best doesn't mean it's hard. It's the easiest thing to become the best squeegee performing window cleaner. And unfortunately, if you're watching most of these other window cleaners and all these other guys that sell these brand tools, they're working longer, harder, slower, giving you less results every single time.